Hello everyone, Welshie1 here to talk to you about Definitely Not Fried Chicken, or as I'll be calling it to save my voice hole, Fried Chicken. It's a business management sim produced by Dope Games as you channel your inner Gus Fring and build your own drug empire. In Fried Chicken, you'll be producing marijuana, cocaine, and meth in your own private factory, along with setting up legitimate businesses, managing transportation lines, and producing products while trying to keep your factory safe. Fried Chicken has a lot going for it, as you can see from the footage behind me. Shameless plug to my Twitch where the footage came from. Anyway, the game has a very friendly voxel visual to it, which is very jarring considering the subject matter of producing drugs. Even with it just being a voxel design, there's lots of little details that show a lot of love and care put into the game. From car indicators at turn points, to seeing fully stocked fridges that even have live chickens in there, to the cool little interactions that the characters have with the environment, like a chicken mascot that is standing on a corner twirling his sign. It shows lots of little details to a graphic system that's usually made for simple designs. While I stand that I'm no music expert, I will comment that I did not mute the soundtrack. The game runs with a 70s synth rock, and that's just what I'm a sucker for, so the music was rocking the entire time while I was cooking. What I will tell you did get muted very quickly was a lot of the in-game sound effects, which were limited, repeated, and annoying. The sounds range from your staff burping in the kitchen to the rumbling, whirling noises of certain machinery in your factory, which repeated frequently. While fitting, it quickly went from charming to annoying. There's only so many times that you can hear somebody burp before you get a little bit agitated and irritated by the sound. In Fried Chicken, you'll start with your single factory growing weed, which will eventually expand to produce other drugs such as meth and cocaine, and then expanding into further legitimate businesses which are fronts for your illegal goods. Definitely Not Fried Chicken, you'll only have the one factory for your time in the game. However, this factory will expand over time to have larger production floors that the more complicated and valuable drugs require. Each of the three drugs have their own three variations of the drugs, each with different environmental requirements to produce these drugs. These can be ranging from lighting sources required, to heating, to cooling, to moisture. The main challenge of the game comes from trying to accommodate all the equipment required to produce these goods and get the highest quality product. Your products are graded on 3 stars, mainly just affecting how much the product will be worth at the end of the production. Starting with cannabis, you'll start with a pot plant required to grow the plant, requiring it to be watered, given light, before it's eventually dried, cut, packed, and ready to be shipped. Variations on the drugs may add additional steps onto the product, or maybe just environmental changes, such as a certain amount of lighting or heating. This applies for most of the drugs. At the start of the game, every step of the production is very manual and requires large investments of time from your staff. Eventually, you'll be given the option to start selling your drugs to local businesses, giving you the option for equipment upgrades. The better equipment reducing time requirements from your staff to even automate in certain steps. Early on in the game, you'll need to start making some money, so at first you'll be selling your illegal goods at pop-up events from a broadcast tower. These are usually at people's houses that you'll sell your goods at a fraction of the value. Eventually, moving on and saving up enough money, you'll be able to set up your own legitimate businesses which will front your illegal goods. These businesses will range from things like laundromats to fried chicken restaurants to even nightclubs, each with their own mini production chains for legal goods. These businesses are primarily used for selling your illegal goods that you'll sell at a premium cost, eventually phasing out the pop-up events. One can guess, selling illegal goods is going to raise some attention, and well, yes, early on the police will be extorting you for cash payments. Failure to pay will have your factory raided. However, if you want to go down swinging, you can build up defenses, build up traps, hire some goods, and keep your factory nice and safe. With that being said, that sounds like there's a lot under the hood of Fried Chicken, right? Well, not really, and this is where I find myself conflicted in this review. It's in this weird little middle ground of being too simple for veterans of management games, but also too simple for newbies to management games. Allow me to elaborate, comparing Fried Chicken to other management games. Your staff in Fried Chicken don't have skills or levels, so the loss of a certain staff member is only really a financial hit. This also means you don't have to worry about proper staff placement. This also comes with material costing. Once you've got the equipment and once you've got the staff, it will produce the good that those equipments will produce. So for example, say the cannabis farms, once you've got the pot plants and once you've got the staff, it will produce the goods. You don't need to buy and store seeds, you don't even get charged to even kick off the production chain. This is the same with your legitimate businesses. Say, the donut shop. You won't have to buy and store flour, you'll just produce donuts. Raids almost don't affect the game either. Once you've set up your first business, which happens really early on, the influx of cash that this business produces is that high, combined with the low cost of running your other businesses, you'll almost never not have the money to pay off the cops. There's also no seasonal or topical events that affects your productions of goods or your sales. In other games like this nature, you'll have events that might trigger off that will increase the value of certain products, so you'll make this bit of a mad dash to produce these goods. However, this doesn't happen in Not Fried Chicken. Most annoyingly of all is the fact that the previous tiers of products get quickly abandoned once you've moved to the next tier of product up. In other management games of this nature, customers may still request these products, keeping them in the loop, or the previous tier's products are introduced with other low-tier products to make a new premium tier product. Let's take a farming game, for example. A low-tier product might be, say, eggs, and another low-tier product may be milk. Eventually, these two will get phased out really early on, but you'll then bring them back together when you learn how to make something like mayonnaise, combining these two low-tier products into a new premium-tier product. But not here. Once you've moved on to making toasted weed, which is the tier 2 weed, basic weed becomes null and void. Even if a customer requests the basic weed, they'll still buy whatever product is available. This does lead to some missed opportunities, as when I started opening up food restaurants like the donut shop or the fried chicken restaurant, I was hoping that this would lead to options where I could move my basic weed, toasted weed, or even my premium weed to these places to start making things like edibles, making a large super product. However, these legitimate businesses are businesses set up just for selling the illegal goods as is, but at a premium. It's at this point in the game, once you've got one or two legit businesses under your belt, that the game stops becoming a business management game and enters what I just recently clicked onto was cookie clicker mode, where you're not running a business, you're just watching the numbers go up, and you're waiting for certain thresholds to be hit so you can unlock the next thing to watch those numbers go up even higher and even faster. As a veteran of management games, I found myself quickly bored as there was no real challenge to the game. There was no seasonal events to catch me off guard, no formulas for me to really mess around with. Once the factory is set up, it quickly runs itself. Looking at it in the eyes from someone who hasn't played management games before, the lack of the challenges also becomes apparent very quickly, as once you've figured out the challenge of the production chains, it plays itself. And figuring out these challenges in the production chains is usually solved by better equipment. On the bad side of things, there were some bugs in my time, nothing game-breaking, but they were present. Things such as staff members randomly dying, even though there was no real obvious answer for why they would die. AI pathing where the couriers would take some strange routes to get to a location, even looping a location several times before pulling in. The notification system in the game is also absolutely atrocious, with it either not advising you of certain events, like staff members dying, to giving you basic announcements such as somebody is hungry, without giving you the name of the person who's hungry. That being said, I did enjoy my time with Definitely Not Fried Chicken. I just wish there was a bit more. I love the art style and I love the concept of running a drug empire. I just wish there was a bit more to the game. The game is still being worked and developed on, so hopefully in later updates they'll resolve this, hopefully improve that horrible notification system to give you some proper information, and add in some much needed depth to the game. If you do see it on sale, I'd recommend picking it up, because for 20 bucks, I had a blast. Anyway, thank you so very much for watching, gamers. I've been the Welshy One. I hope you've enjoyed this review. Feel free to give me a like and comment below. We do regular reviews and gameplay discussions. I look at management games, RPGs, simulation games, horror games, and tabletop discussions, and I'd love to have you here going forward. I also stream quite regularly, which is where the gameplay footage behind me was coming from. I think we've got one or two more players of Definitely Not Fried Chicken before we move on to the next one. I'd love to have you there. Anyway, gamers, until next time, you have a great one. You know, if it wasn't for the drugs in there, this would make a great kids' first edition of management games.